Yeah.
That's insane. Wow. Do you imagine spending that on a laptop?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can almost buy a dozen eggs with that kind of money.
Right. I mean, milk.
Yeah, really.
Almost. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wayback Chronicles podcast, where we talk about everything from the 1970s to the current years. This is Steve, and I'm back with my good friends Noel and Keith.
In this episode, we are going to listen to Steve talk to us all about the awesome technology innovations of the year 1988. So, Steve, I am prepared to be blown away. What do you got for us today?
Well, you bet. So, really, 1988 is a story about the development of the computer industry and really the growing popularity of personal computers. And so just going to ask y'all to throw a number out. If you were to guess how many households in the United States in 1988, how many would you say had a computer in their home?
88. Not many. 10.
10
million?
Million?
I'm going to say,
I'd say 10 million. I'd say 10 million.
10 million?
It is a surprising number. It's actually about 45 million PCs were in use in the United States, and just the United States alone. So of course, a lot of the World Wide Web and everything started in the United States, and then, started to move over to Europe and all the other stuff. But, so personal computers have found their way into about 15% of U.S. households, which is about 45%. PCs dominated, but other home systems were popular as well. Among them were the Apple II, which came out. I remember the Apple II was that brown box, right?
Yes.
And, It was ugly looking, but super cool. And then, of course, the Mac was, taken off. Commodore 64 was huge in 88. I don't remember this one, the Atari ST. I don't remember that computer system. And then I do remember the Amiga 2000.
Oh, yeah. Commodore Amiga.
Yeah. So, anyway, so really at the time of 1988, computers came with DOS. When Windows 2.0 was a $99 option that you could add to your purchase. And one of the many competing graphical interfaces. Radio Shack was the home PC center of it, so that's where you went.
The Tandy, wow.
Exactly.
Tandy, wow.
So any guess how much a Tandy 1000 TL cost back in 1988?
I bet it was pricey.
$2,000, I bet.
Yeah, I'd say $1,200. Yeah.
Yeah, Keith is close. It's $1,400.
Wow.
So for that $1,400, you got a whopping 14-inch, 16-color monitor, 640 kilobytes of RAM, and a single floppy inch drive, 3.5-inch floppy drive.
3.5-inch. Okay.
Pretty crazy to think about that. I remember my parents had a Tandy, and I thought it was so cool that we had a computer. And I remember playing a Major League Baseball game on it, and the graphics were horrible, but I thought it was awesome. And
I think we had a computer back then. I don't know. We didn't use it very much. I know that. I think it was because it was like back then. A lot of computers are like made in a garage and stuff. I think we had one of those IBM compatible computers. That's what we had at home. Did you guys have? You said you had a computer, Steve. The Tandy?
Yeah, it was a Tandy.
What about you? What about you, Keith?
Yeah, I did. I had an Apple IIc.
Yeah,
and man, I wore that computer out. I still have some of the floppy disks.
Oh, wow.
To this day, I still have them. But I mean, that thing was with me from junior high through undergraduate school and college. I mean,
really?
I had a dot matrix printer that I burned up with reports in college. Man, I absolutely loved that thing. And it got me really through until dial-up internet started.
Wow,
honestly. And I mean, I used that thing religiously. I loved my Apple IIc. It was so great. Yeah.
We'll actually talk about some printer advancements and later on in the show. But so good segue there, Keith. So laptops are starting to become a thing. They're insanely expensive. Toshiba 1200H cost you just shy of $4,100.
Oh,
Wow.
So thank you for advancement in technology and affordability on that. But
And that's $88
yeah,
too. So that's probably
$88 as
like
well.
10 grand
So
today.
so
You know?
adjusted for inflation is now. This is article I got this research from is from advances from 1988 to 2008. So we, of course we've had crazy inflation the last 2 years, but as of 2008, the adjustment for inflation was roughly $7,200 is what it would cost you. So
oh my
so pretty
God.
insane if you think about it from that perspective.
Hmm.
Jumping in a couple other technological advancements. So we were laughing about just computer storage or lack thereof of computer storage from a kilobyte standpoint, but you could actually buy an external hard drive for it was, let's see, 150 megabytes,
Hmm.
and the price of this external hard drive was $4,995.
What?
So it cost $33 per meg. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
That's crazy.
yeah.
Okay,
God.
so you said it was $4,200 that laptop?
Yes, $4,200.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm on the CPI inflation calculator on the government website. So in today's dollars, that would be $11,075.69 as of
Yeah.
June of this year.
Yeah.
Golly.
That's insane.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could you imagine spending that on a laptop?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So color printer. There was a
You can almost buy a dozen eggs with that kind of money.
Right. I mean,
almost
milk.
Yeah, really.
cheaper buy chicken these days, I think. But
No kidding.
That chicken.
chicken mall.
That chicken.
So moving into color printers, so dot matrix was still leading the way when it came to color printers. An Alps ALQ300 printer cost you $995 today, roughly $2,000 for that same printer. But of course, we have much better printer options now. Now this is crazy. CompuServe to use. So if you remember, you paid for internet early on by the hour.
Gosh.
So it wasn't a
I
monthly plan.
remember that. It was
So
how long you were connected.
Yeah.
exactly, and how much? Remember, right? Data was included, and anyway, to use CompuServe in 1988, it ranged between $6 to $47.50 per hour,
Mm. Mm.
and it was all dial up. So 39600 baud. Which is super slow, and I was probably the last person to leave dial up probably, but yeah, I remember how slow it was. You go start to download something, go cook dinner, and maybe it was
Come back
ready.
and it's yeah.
I would think that the sound of dial-up is one of the sounds of our generation.
Yeah.
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 So true.
So cell phone technology, as we look at 1988. So in 1988, the Motorola Dynatac 8500 XL cell phone, which was an analog phone, of course, $2,500 adjusted, so roughly $5,000 today for inflation adjustments. But weighed 28 ounces, and you could talk to 1 hour, up to 1 hour on the battery.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It was called the Motorola which one?
It was the, hold on, let me get back to my notes here.
Dynatac?
Dynatac.
Oh yeah, here we go. Okay. I gotta see what it looks like.
Remember, right? It was a suitcase phone, right?
Oh yeah. It was the
In the
brick.
bag.
It was the
Yeah.
brick one.
Okay, yep.
It actually wasn't a bag. It was the one that just looks like the brick.
Gotcha.
The Zach Morris phone.
There you go.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
Big screen TVs
awesome.
in 1988. You can get a 35-inch Mitsubishi Diamond Vision 2 TV for $3,000, 35 inches.
You know, rent a crane to move it into your house.
Yeah, the old CR2s. Yeah, it was a team lift effort. You were lucky if 2 people was enough.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And then the Pioneer laser disc player came. The COD 1010 laser disc player came out, and that was a $1,427 expense. So as I was reading that, the thing is that sort of still got to me, the difference between now and 1988 and now 25 years later is just the affordability and just how much better we have it these days from the advancements. And I mean, and think about what all we can do with our iPhones and cell phones out there. It's just, monumental how things have adjusted.
You're right. You're right. You listen to this and all of these prices, and I remember the outrage from when the iPhones and the Galaxy phones were hitting $1,000.
Yeah,
it was like, oh, travesty. I'm like, the things you can do with this compared to everything you just probably 30 grand worth of stuff could only do a tenth of what our little handheld devices can do now.
Right.
All combined.
Yep.
Yeah, insane. So another, just an interesting note about computers. So in 1985, Steve Jobs was forced out of Apple, as you might recall. And if you've ever seen that movie, it talks about that story. And anyway, so in '88, he founded a new company called Next, NE, capital X, capital T. And the computer he created, it was an all-black cube. It was considered an important innovation because it was upgradable. And you get a chance to look at it. It's definitely something you could see that came from Steve Jobs.
Oh yeah,
mind.
I'm googling it right now. That's crazy.
And
what's it called?
It was the
NEXT.
Next NEXT.
Okay.
And so it had 3 Motorola microprocessors in it and 8 megs of RAM, which then was amazing to have 8 megs, right? But
yeah,
and its base price was $6,500 in 1988, and
so here's an interesting one for you. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. Guess, in addition to Steve Jobs, guess who else was a corporate director for Next NEXT?
Bill Gates.
No, Ross Perot.
Oh, really?
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah, wild.
I still think it would have been great if he was our president.
I tell you,
I
still love it.
Yeah,
there would have been so many great Saturday Night Live skits with that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Let me tell you something.
I'll tell you what. I'll write a personal check to offset the cost of our deficit.
Yeah, I'll write it up on a check. We'll do it right now.
And y'all don't have to pay me back. All right, just vote me in. So graphics and games advancement. So especially for what led up in future years of real audio and so forth. But the first Sound Blaster sound card came out
Sound
in
Blaster.
1988.
Wow.
And so pretty big advancement there. And then we talked about different computer companies. VTech founded in Hong Kong. And VTech, I know we've heard of their phones and a variety of different other things, but they had been a manufacturer of Pong-like games and educational games, but then they introduced the Laser 128 computer, which instead of simply copying the basic input-output system of the Apple II, as Franklin Computer done, they reversed engineered the system and sold it for $479, which was a much lower price at the time to the comparable Apple II. And so, sort of surprised they didn't take more of had more success with that Apple clone at the time, especially with that lower price point. But for whatever reason, it just didn't quite take off, and the market didn't accept it compared to the Apple. So Noel, you mentioned this we talked about this during the pop culture episode of 1988. But we joked about the comedians at MIT creating the first virus. And it was the Morris virus.
Yep.
And just an interesting thing about it, like he claimed that he created the worm because he wanted to just see how big the internet was and the World Wide Web was, and so his goal was to just use that as a measuring tool, but instead it just created major lags and widespread outages throughout the internet. But the interesting thing about it is he was the first person convicted under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. And he later apologized in 2008, saying he sought to, just simply use it to check the internet size, so not to cause harm.
Wild,
but
yep.
So interesting thing there. So Photoshop also shipped its first software in 1988. And,
Photoshop, nice.
Yep.
Did they have the inflate tool yet?
I don't know.
Make the boobs bigger.
I mean, you would hope that was an original, because otherwise, what's the point, right?
What's the point?
If you can't zoom in, then
I
just
learned something new today. I did not know that was a thing.
So in 1980, for the first time, CDs outsold vinyl records in the United States.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool. Did you ever play the games King Quest?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It was just a PC-based game. Anyway, King's Quest 4 came out in 1988.
Wow. I think that's kind of like up there with the Rambos. Like at that point, I don't care.
Yeah, right.
With that amount of, of editions of the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember playing the original one though.
Yeah. The graphics were cool at the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, MS-DOS was released. I would say MS-DOS 4.0 was released in July of 88. And then just a few months later, in November of 88, they released 4.01. So I sort of wonder if they were trying to feel pressure about Windows operating systems starting to become a thing, and so they felt like they had to update more often. But
I mean, DOS is not really anything to write home about. I mean, but I guess back in the day, that was kind of the interface was that. I mean, that was before the graphical user interface, better known as the GUI, was really a thing. So once that became GUI, once that entered the scene, everything changed for good. So
GUI is how I describe my chocolate chip cookies. Nothing else in life,
right?
So,
which actually sounds really nice.
Yeah.
Now I kind of want a GUI chocolate chip cookie.
Yes.
Oh, I'm hungry.
So Microsoft Office was first introduced in August 1st of 1988. So
okay.
And then
wow, that's gone a long way. Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
That's wild.
And then this is big for the three of us. So Sega released the Sega Genesis.
Oh, huge.
First in Japan on October 29th of 88, and later in North America just a year later. But so the world saw the Sega Genesis for the first time in 1988. And then, which is probably the last time we'll ever talk about in subsequent years after 88, we talk about the advancement of typewriters. But in 1988, IBM released the IBM Willwriter series, family 2 of upgradable typewriters. And if I remember right, that was the one that had the little computer monitor attached to the typewriter.
Yes.
And so anyway, those were super lame. But I mentioned printer advancements, but in 1988, Hewlett-Packard developed and introduced the first HP DeskJet inkjet printer, which totally changed. Really started that shift from the old dot matrix to what became a very popular, and still today a very popular series of printers for Hewlett-Packard.
The world was introduced to the pains of ink cartridges and ink replacements and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course. How quickly
we've gotten away from.
I need a B100. I don't have a B100. Well, a B101 work? No, it won't work. I need a B100.
They look the same size.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but it won't fit. It won't fit.
I mean, just that little tab. If I just pop that little tab off.
No, you got to put it right there. B100. B100.
Bingo.
I was like, bingo.
I don't know why people shopping for ink has that voice, but they do. So
yeah,
I think so.
Bay 100.
So and then just a few more things to throw out before we really wrap up. Not a massive, overwhelming year in technology advancements in 1988, but just a random fact. So there was a company called Nippon Kogaku Kogyo Kabushiki Geisha.
Gosh.
Anyway, they changed their name to a much easier to pronounce Nikon in 1988.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah. Hey, I want to go get one of those new Nippon Kagaku Kokyo Kabushiki Geisha cameras. Anybody want to go to Best Buy with me?
Who wants to have that conversation with Mr. Nippon Nagaguchi? Like, nobody knows how to say nobody knows how to buy your camera because they come into the store like, I want one of them Nippon Nagaguchis. Sir, we're not that kind of store.
Yeah. Anyway, so thank goodness that they made it easier on us and called it Nikon instead.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Much better.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah. then the final bit and tied up from the little sneak preview from the music episode is so the movie that Pixar created in 1988 was a movie called Tin Toy, and I've never seen this. It didn't even come up on our list of movies that we discussed in the movie episode. But so Tin Toy becomes the first computer animated film to win an Academy Award, taking the Oscar for Best Animated Short Film. So short film. So maybe that's why. But so in it a wine.
When did Toy Story come out? It was in the 90s, right?
I believe it was 91.
So this must be okay. So this is kind of the precursor.
What was it? 95? It was 95 when we talked about it, I guess. So yeah. Anyway, so I want to see Tin Toys. I want to see how the graphics were similar to maybe like Toy Story and so forth. And
it was 1995. It was 1995. Yep.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
Anyway, and Toy Story was 95, and they were the first full length feature film created entirely by computer animation. So anyway, so Tin Toy.
You can actually see it on YouTube. I just saw here.
Okay.
So, yeah. Cool.
Very good. But, guys, some important things with the advancement of Sound Blaster and Photoshop, Microsoft Office, some important things and some many tools that started in 88 that we still use today. In our computer lives. So very cool.
I mean, there's a lot there. Like Nikon is in the forefront of the mirrorless cameras right now. Mm-hmm. They're in a battle with Canon and Sony for that. So it's still a hugely relevant company. Like you say, I mean, with all of the filters and everything, I mean, Photoshop is like robust with all the different things you can do. And not just, for silly things, but I mean, for really robust platforms for album covers, all sorts of art. Amazing the tools you can do with that and the technology. And I could only imagine what the original Photoshop looks like compared to today.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, totally
crazy. So yeah, that's really cool. Really cool. I'm glad that you took us down this because the prices are blowing my mind though.
Yeah. Oh gosh, thank God.
Kidding. $7,000 for.
That's wild.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Hey, you bet.
As usual, your technology episodes
they're my favorites.
They are my favorites. I love them.
All right. Well, that's nice of y'all.
Steve does a great job with technology.
I think so too. It's great.
It's fun to act like I know what I'm talking about when it's technology. So,
it's cool. I love it. I love the discovery of things that I just forgot about. Pretty awesome.
Yep. So I guess it's time to find out where we're going to be going to the next few episodes. So, Steve, can you crank up the old time machine and see where she's going to take us?
You bet. Do your magic, Wayback.
Let's go way back to 1992.
1992, guys.
Why? Oh,
okay.
All right.
A great year.
Mm-hmm.
1992.
Was that y'all's first year at Tech? Is that when y'all went?
91, 92 for me.
So that would be between my sophomore and junior years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I was a junior in high school. 92.
Oh wow, that's crazy. That's gonna be a good one because this is gonna be kind of right in the peak of like you say, high school transitioning to college for everything. Oh boy.
So who wants to go first?
Keith.
Let's see. I'll go first.
Okay. All right. Let's really just get this shook up good here. This is our 2022 USPS cardboard box with yellow post notes folded in half.
Well done.
Put that one back for you, Keith.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Politics and world events.
Yes, it was.
Keith, you get to do the technology of 1992.
All right, cool.
There you go.
I'm in.
There you go.
All right.
Good one.
No, you want to wait till last?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Alrighty. I get to do pop culture of 1992.
All right.
Very fun.
Very cool.
Okay.
And I haven't got to do sports since the first
year.
All right, putting that back for Noel.
Thank you.
And speaking of sports, Noel gets sports in 1992.
Hey, all right. Good.
Nice.
Our best sports episode ever was whenever Noel did, was it 95 Sports? Talking about Tiger Woods.
Jerks.
Very good.
You guys are both like, really?
I was captivated.
Yeah, you were.
Oh, come on.
This is crazy.
You may have to do a rewind to that, key, just so people know what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, I will. Fair enough. Oh my gosh. So good. 1992. That's going to be a good year for this. I'm excited.
That'll be cool.
Well,
that'll be cool.
Well, thank you to 1988 for a lot of great memories and just a lot of reminders of just all the cool stuff. I think really pop culture was super fun of 1988, but the music was great.
Yeah, my goodness.
Good music. And decent movies too.
Yeah. The movies were rocking in 1988 for sure.
Fascinated by the technology, the cost of technology back in 88 compared to what it is today, and
mind-boggling.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, when we got that Tandy computer, I remember my dad specifically going to Radio Shack to buy that computer, and that box was so big.
Oh yeah,
and it sat up in our attic for years. It seemed like till finally it got tossed on the curb. But yeah, it's crazy that it just shows you how like retail, especially technology retail, is so just victimized by just advancement of technology and the fact that Radio Shack used to be the premier computer source.
Yep.
It doesn't even exist anymore, does it?
Nope.
I don't think so. I think they're all gone.
Yeah, they're gone. Commodity. Everything became a commodity. Everybody was doing it. So
it's wild.
Cheap. But
yeah.
All right, fellas, enjoyed it. We will
read it too.
Be back next time with 1992. So
awesome.
Sounds good. Enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you all again real soon.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Wayback Chronicles. All shows are written and produced by Noel, Keith, and Steve. Massive thanks to those who made these memories possible for us through the years. All songs, sounds, and effects have been attributed in the comments section and through links listed on waybackchronicles.podbean.com. We look forward to taking you way back again in the very near future.